What is up, everybody? Chris, the Dice Degen here on Casino Gaming TV, bringing you another episode of the Daily Wager. So hopefully everyone's having a great Thursday. Today's Thursday, I think. Today's Thursday? Yeah, confirmed. Today's Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great day. Opening day for the MLB. So exciting for anyone who's betting on the MLB or just anyone who's a baseball fan in general. Opening day. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. My Phillies play today. And should be some good games today. Now, as you guys know, I'm not a big MLB bettor. I realize that I'm not very good at it, so I don't do it. And there's a lot of games to track. That's the reason why I'm not great at it, is because there's a lot of information to pull from baseball games, and it's a very time-intensive process. So that's why I don't bet it. But I will bet some player props and some other things like that. So those bets will come as we get into more sharing of bets. But again, remember, bets will start being shared this Saturday, April 1st, and they will be put in the Casino Gaming TV Discord. So if you're not in the Casino Gaming TV Discord, pop on over there. All right, so quick little thing about the show, right? We're going over sports betting for dummies for the first few episodes here. This will be another installation of that. I'm going to be giving you my top tips for sports betting. Any wild stories I see or that I have of my own, I will certainly share. Any breaking news in the sports world, what's buzzing in the sports world, and of course, daily picks. I'm going to do some bankroll builder series with like a small bankroll and trying to build it into a nice sizable bankroll, and then also do some challenges for fun. Again, the challenges, please bet very lightly, and we'll get into those in the coming episodes and in the coming weeks. Say what's up to some people that are here. I see Roger OMC is here, Buckeye, JR, CRC, what's going on? James, how are you? And Nightbot is here as well. Nightbot's been making appearances on all our shows today. But good point here. If you guys have a question, put a capital Q in front of it, all right? Or you can just put a degen in front of it or something so I can see it. And I'll go back through chat at the end if I don't catch it right away. And yes, very good point here from CRC with pitching changes and lineups can be changed last minute. That's another thing. So if you do bet the MLB, I guess this will be tip number one, but not really. But if you do bet MLB, make sure that if you're betting based on a specific pitcher, make sure you action the pitcher. All right, so I can show you guys how to do that, but you can select the pitcher must start in order for your bet to actually be valid. If that pitcher doesn't start, you will get a refund on your bet. All right, so that's an action bet on a pitcher. I can show you guys that in a little bit. But quick note from my lawyer, Justice Jen. This series is for entertainment and for informational purposes only. It is not, nor shall it be construed as betting advice, and there is no guarantee or warranty of profit. I'm just going to say that now. Please bet smartly. Please do not bet more than you can afford to lose. All right, let's get into some of my top tips for beginners who are betting, and just if you're more experienced, these tips are also good to know and keep in mind as you do bet. All right, and yep, that is correct. That is correct. The pitcher must start, or the ticket will be graded as a push or a void depending on the book, and you will get refunded whatever bet stake that you put on it. So let's say you put $50, assuming Max Scherzer was pitching for the Mets today, which he is listed as the starting pitcher today. And if, let's say, last minute he got sick or something, and you had the action bet on the pitcher to start in order for your bet to be valid, that ticket would be graded as a push or a void, and you would get your $50 back. All right, so couple tips, right? First of all, be skeptical of people who are giving out picks. I'm sure a lot of you have seen picks on Twitter, on YouTube, different Discord forums and stuff. And I'm saying this of myself as well. Be skeptical of my picks, all right? Don't just blindly take anything I say as gospel, all right? It's probably not. The bets that I am betting that I will give you are based on models, they're based on numbers, they're based on a lot of other things and research that I do put in. But just be skeptical, all right? Make sure if it doesn't smell right to you, don't do it, all right? And there's many people, cappers, quote unquote, who give out tips. Some of them are very unsuccessful. Not knocking them. I'm just saying that they should probably stop doing what they do. And some of them charge for their picks, all right? So if you're ever going to pay for a premium service, make sure that they have a trackable record, okay? They have proof that they're actually betting these things. There's cappers out there who will just post picks and not actually bet them themselves. So I will not post tickets of every single bet that I do place. I will give you the play. If you want to test me on any play, you can ask me for the ticket. I will send you the ticket. All right. I will be playing every single bet that I post. And if there's any bets that I do, like slips that I do need to post in order for the bet to be made more clear, I certainly will. I just don't want to fill up the Discord with a million pictures of bets. So instead, I'll put it in text format. But if you want to test me, by all means, go for it. I will send you the ticket if you ask me for it. All right. And also be careful of cappers who claim to be good at every sport and bet on every sport. No one person, if there's a group, maybe, but if there's no one person who bets on every single sport and is successful at all sports. This is the reason why I don't specifically bet on the MLB. I also don't bet on NBA very often. My success rate on those is not as good as I would like it to be, meaning that I'm not super profitable on it. Will I profit occasionally? Yes. But long term, I've found that I'm not a consistent profit. I'm not in a consistent profitability point where I do not consistently bet on those sports from here on out. Now, I do bet on the NFL. I do bet a lot of soccer. I do bet a lot of tennis. Those I am profitable on, so I continue betting on those. Again, I have models for that stuff. I watch a lot of those events. I track a lot of those matches, those games, things like that. So I'm not saying that I'm the greatest bettor of those, but I'm pretty good. All right. So if someone's betting on every single sport, be wary, and also be mindful of the amount of plays they give out per day or the amount of units they're using per day, right? If you remember in a couple episodes ago, I said divide your bankroll into percentages, okay? So if you have, personally, I like to divide it where 1 unit equals 1% of my bankroll. Let's say I have a $100 bankroll. I would divide that by 100. That means my unit would be $1. I'm not saying my bankroll is 100. It's a lot higher than that. But for ease of math, there you go. All right. So be careful of people posting 20, 25 picks a day. It happens. There's a lot of cappers who actually do post double-digit picks per day. Be wary of those. Okay. And also be wary of people who claim to use unit systems and then risk 50% of their bankroll in a single given day. That's not good. If you have a bad day, you have a very bad day. All right. So, just thought I'd mention it. JR, not a true sports enthusiast, but I keep all North American thoroughbred track models. That is very interesting. I'm gonna have to get with you on that. I do like betting horses a lot. Big horse better. I'll have to contact you on that one. All right. So tip number 1, again, be skeptical, all that kind of stuff, and Mr. Nightbot is posting in there now for me. So for the Discord, there you go. There's the link for it if you want to join the CGTV Discord if you're not a part of it already. Second tip is to set achievable objectives. All right, sports betting isn't the easiest thing in the world. Again, it is gambling. So do know that going into it, right? Just because you think you may be an expert on sports, you watch a lot of sports, it does not mean that sports betting will be easy for you. And also know that there's a difference between winning and being profitable. All right, there's a lot of people who think that they can win consistently, but they don't profit long term. What do I mean by that? Well, when you break down the units, right, I told you guys in a previous episode that my typical plays are between 1 and 3 units. That's where my plays sit. 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit. I do have occasional 4 unit and 5 unit plays that are more reserved for max bets or more things that I'm even more confident in. Maybe I have an edge that I really like. That's where those max bets will come into play. But the 1 to 3 unit plays. Now, the thing with winning and being profitable, Let's say I went 10-1 on my 1 unit picks, and I went 4-6 on my 3 unit picks. My record over there would be 14-7. That looks like a good record, right? However, I don't even know if that record's right. Let's say I have a winning record, but a lot of those are 1 unit wins and there's a lot of bigger losses. That's not being profitable. That's a winning record, but you're not profiting. So pay attention to that kind of stuff, all right? You want to be winning, but you also want to be profitable with your wins. And also, don't always expect to win, all right? It doesn't happen. There's a lot of streaks in sports betting. There's a lot of streaks at the casino. Very, very similar premise, all right? So don't have the expectation that you're always going to win, even if you think you have the best pick in the world, okay? So realistic expectations, and again, that comes down to bankroll management and units. Set realistic expectations for your sports bets, set them for your bankroll, and set them for your units. If you have $100 in an account, don't be betting $50 a game. That gives you 2 games to bet on, all right? Don't be doing things like that. Don't expect you're going to win one of the 2 and you're going to be batting 50%, because that may not happen, all right? So be realistic with all your expectations that you set for yourself. And also learn the basics, okay? The basics of sports betting, that's what I'm trying to address and teach in this episode and the last few episodes, and more to come, all right? But learn the basics of betting, but also know the sport you're betting on, all right? If you're a fan of the sport, it's easier to probably bet on that because you know more about it. If you don't know anything about horses, you're not going to be betting on horses, all right? You can, but you don't expect to be profitable betting horses if you know nothing about horses. Same thing with soccer. If you don't know a single thing about soccer, don't expect to be betting and being profitable when you are betting soccer. All right. Now, if you're listening to some of the picks I gave you, that's maybe a little bit of a different story. If you're listening to somebody else, maybe a different story. But if you go out on your own and start placing bets on something you don't know, you're digging yourself a hole. All right. So I'm just letting you know that it's easier to bet what you know. Now, don't take what you know and start risking a lot of money on it because you think you know it. All right, there's a difference between knowing the sport and then understanding the betting behind the sport as well. So bet what you know. It's easier. Bet what you watch. If you like watching the NBA and you think you want to dabble in betting NBA, well, you'll probably have a better success rate of betting the NBA than you would of betting, let's say, the NFL, and you've never watched a football game in your life. But with that, don't overcomplicate it, all right? There's no need to make betting super, super complicated. You can keep it very, very simple and be very profitable with a very simple system, right? I have it down there, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, all right? Because I'm from Philly, and that's how we say stupid. 2 O's, and that's what it is, all right? Keep it simple. And there's also no need to try to think you're an expert in sports betting, all right? It's a journey. You're going to have to learn a lot of different things about sports. You're going to have to learn things about different leagues. You're going to have to learn about different bets, what bets are profitable for you, what bets aren't profitable for you, all this kind of stuff. There's systems involved with sports betting. I'll get into that in a little bit later. There's modeling. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into sports betting. There's no need to know all of it right away. As long as you learn the basics, you will be good, okay? And Craig, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Not all horses run like Secretariat, all right? Not all horses. And bet with your head, not with your heart, and use tools to be knowledgeable. I'm going to steal this on a future slide. I'm going to steal that. Anyway, let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. Okay, here we go. So again, with bankroll management, all that kind of stuff, same thing with gambling, with whatever gambling that you're doing. Set a budget and have a plan with what you're doing. All right. So of course, don't bet more than you can afford to lose, and set a realistic budget for yourself, whether it be a daily budget, a weekly budget, a monthly budget, or a yearly budget. Set something aside for yourself that you know, first of all, if you lose, it's not going to factor into your life that much. It's not going to make that much of a difference in your life. You wouldn't even notice the money necessarily gone. I'm not saying that, you're gonna miss the money, because you probably will, but I'm saying don't put rent money or don't put your mortgage payment into the sportsbook account. Okay? Don't do that. And that's why I say you use units and you use different bet stakes. That's why I have mine set for a 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, up to 5. And again, my bankroll is set at 100 units. Okay? And when you use units like that, it'll help you lose less on bad streaks. Streaks are very, very common in sports betting. All right, you may win 5. Don't get cocky when you win 5. You may lose 7 in a row. All right, so the streaks do happen. Sometimes you're flip flopping. You win 2, you lose 1, win 1, lose 2. A lot of different things happen. All right, but keeping to units will help you to be more profitable long term and not lose as much in the short term. Selectivity. All right, be selective. There is literally so many sports you can bet on. All right, if you take a look at a sports book, I'll pull one up in a minute. You can literally bet on anything. All right, I'm going to give you an example. During COVID, okay, most of the professional sports were on a pause. There wasn't much to bet on. What did I turn to? Table tennis. Yes, I said table tennis, ping pong, whatever you want to call it. That's what I was betting on. Why? Well, that was the only thing that was on. You may think you can bet on ping pong. Yes, you can. I actually turned into somewhat of a knowledgeable ping pong bettor, we'll call it, because I was betting on it so much. But you can literally bet on anything, so keep that in mind. All right, and be selective with your wagers. Okay. Bet on a few things that are well thought out, well planned out, rather than a bunch of random bets that you're throwing out there hoping to cash one of them. Okay? Goes for the same thing with some of these crazy plus money parlays you'll see posted. Those are very random. They're very, very hard to hit. If they hit, you look like a genius, but ask that person how many of them have they had to place in order to actually hit one. Okay? So, smaller, well thought out wagers are better than a bunch of just random bets where you're sitting there and throwing darts at a dartboard. All right, just pick a few small wagers. And seriously, you put this in here. You can actually bet on marbles. I'm not even joking. You can. I don't know if it's on the book that I'm looking at. I have seen lines on books before for marble shooting contests and other stuff. Okay. And also know what you're betting, but also know why you're betting it. All right. Don't just bet on a team because you think they're going to win. All right. That's not a good reason for why. Have a justification built in where you say, okay, I'm betting on this team for X, Y, and Z, not because, oh, I like this team or they should win. It's not a good reason. Okay. So be selective with your bets and also understand value. All right, it seems simple, but most people don't understand, and there's many, many cappers out there that I see posting picks who have no concept of value, but all they preach is, well, this is great value. It's not the case all the time, all right? Value is the relationship between odds on the sportsbook and the probability of that outcome actually occurring, all right? So being successful long-term is actually about finding positive expected value. Now, you may tell me, most of the lines you'll see have a negative expected value because the book is always right. Or the book, Vegas is always right, or Vegas is always close. And the lines show you that you have to bet more to win less at times. That is true. However, if you bet disciplined and you understand what you're betting on and you have different picks, there is positive expected value to be found. And you can exploit that, okay? I'm going to look through chat real quick because I see a couple coming in. Some may like the A's. Don't think they'll get 50 wins. I think the Athletics are pretty bad this year, so no, I don't think. Again, I'm not the baseball expert, though. Maybe I'll bring somebody on who is very good at baseball. Personally, I'm not. But, yeah, not sure if you touched on it, but how and when should you bet the point spread and or money line? That's a good question. That is a very good question. All right. So, point spreads and money lines. They're tough. I'll tell you. It's tough sometimes to pick. However, if you're betting on the money line, all right, if the point spread is, let's say, less than like 2.5, so like if they're 2.5 point favorites down to like a pick 'em where there's no point spread, it's even. Generally, there I bet the money line just in case they win by like 1 or 2 points. I expect them to cover the spread at that point, but just in case, I'll bet them on the money line. However, with spreads and stuff, if you think that a team will cover the spread, bet the spread. If you think they're just going to win, then you bet the money line, so you hope that they win. Now, I will say be careful, and I have it coming up on a later slide, but be very, very careful with some of these big money line favorites. All right, CRC put in here prime or bracket busters, a prime example. Purdue was minus 23.5 against Fairleigh Dickinson in the NCAA tournament. Minus 23.5. Most books didn't even have a money line on them. If they did, the money line was probably in the minus 2,000 range, which would mean you'd have to bet $2,000 to win 100. Okay, at that point, you either don't bet the game, or you take a team on the spread. Either way, so that's where sometimes spread bets come into play, where there's no value betting the money line. Again, I'm talking about value right now. At those kind of odds, there's no value betting the money line. You're better off, honestly, just staying away from the game altogether for the sole reason that if they lose, you're going to have to win a lot of bets in order to recoup that money. Take, for example, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but the guy during the NFL playoffs last year when the Chargers were playing Jacksonville, all right, at the halftime, the Chargers were up 24, 27 points, something like that. A guy bet the Chargers money line. He put $1.4 million on the Chargers money line to win like 10 grand, I think. There's zero value in that play. He would have been better off putting money on the Jaguars to come back and win that game. All right, there's zero value in that big of a point spread. In that bet he made, there was zero value, and this is why I tell you not to bet those kind of things, because what happened? Well, the Jaguars came back and won that game. That guy actually bet $1.4 million to win 10 grand. That's insanity. He lost. How many bets would he have to win at that level to make that money back? A hell of a lot. All right, so that's why I'm saying value. This is why some people don't understand value. You got to find where it actually makes sense in order to place a bet like that. And if you're not sure of a team covering the spread or not, that is usually a good time to bet the money line, especially if they're a favorite. Now, again, the thing comes down to, is there value in betting them on the money line? You can also buy points on the spread. So, like, let's say, I don't know, the Eagles are playing the Giants in NFL. Eagles are at home. Let's call them 7.5 point favorites. You don't want to give up 2 scores, basically. You can buy that line down to 6.5. You can buy them down to 5.5. You can buy them down. Again, the odds get reduced the more you buy down, but you can do it. So, interesting idea there. I do buy points occasionally, depending on what the game is and things like that. You can also buy points down on the underdog, same thing. So if you're betting the Giants there at 7.5, you could buy them down to, let's say, 8 or 9 or 10 even. Again, the odds do go down, though, as you go down the line. So also, learn some simple betting strategies. Okay, I'm going to go over a bunch of betting strategies tomorrow, actually, on the show. So if you're interested in betting strategies, tomorrow I'm going to go over a bunch of them. So I'm not going to go super in depth in today. But most people don't think there's actual strategy involved with sports betting. There is, all right? And if somebody tells you there's no strategy in sports betting, don't listen to a word they say, because they're probably the same people who think that there's no strategy involved with any casino game. It's all luck. It's all random. While it may be some of that, there is strategy involved, okay? And with those strategies or those betting systems, no system is guaranteed success, but they can be used to find value and help with selections and help give you picks and things along those lines. But again, they're not guaranteeing success. It's more or less a potential way to win. next tip is to compare lines and odds. All right, so don't always take the first line you see. Okay, this is what line shopping is when you go look at different books to see what the lines are and where the value could be. This is another way of finding value. So shop around, use different websites, and I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to switch over here. I have two sports books open. I have MGM Sportsbook and I have FanDuel open. All right. I'm just going to show you right now. So take, for example, the New York Giants, or sorry, not the New York Giants, the New York Yankees playing against the San Francisco Giants. All right. This game starts in a few minutes, 30 minutes, 27 minutes, according to the sportsbook. Okay. Again, MLB opening day. Take a look at the lines, right? I don't know if they're going to be different. I'm just picking the first one, and if not, I'll go pick a different one. So, on the money line, the Yankees are minus 175, which means you'd have to bet $175 to win 100. And the Giants are plus 145, okay? The over-under set at 6.5. The run line, where they have to win by, in this case, the Yankees would have to win by 2 or more runs, is plus 125. For the Giants to either win or lose by less than 1 run, minus 155. Let's go over to FanDuel. Let's see what the line is for FanDuel in that game. They have similar lines, so these are very similar. There's some differences though if you look at the actual values here. So like the Yankees were minus 175 on the other book, they're minus 178 here. Not that big of a difference. But here with the run lines, right? Minus 154, they were minus 155, basically the same thing there. The lines are very, very similar. Okay, this is not a good example. I don't know if I can find a good example. We'll find out. Because, and this is what goes into what I said the other day, the books are set with lines from the start, but the lines change based on the amount of money coming in at that specific book. So if I used the example before, let's say I'm gonna use the Yankees and the Giants as an example. Okay, let's say that everybody on FanDuel was just absolutely hammering the Yankees to win today. All right, this line's gonna move on FanDuel because there's a lot of money coming in on FanDuel on the Yankees to win, but the line may not move on MGM because they don't have the same amount of money coming in on the bet. All right, so that's why the lines differ a little bit. Baseball is kind of hard to find some differences. They exist, but it's a little bit harder to find. Let me take a look and see if I can see anything real quick. Let's see. NBA is usually better. Let me look at NBA. NBA is usually better if it wants to load. And while it's loading, we'll discuss. All right. See if I can find something that's different. I'm struggling to find something that's different. That's what I get, right? I didn't actually take screenshots of any of this stuff earlier to take a look at it. But let's use the Nuggets and the Pelicans as an example. All right, 5.5 point favorites here. You can't see that because my picture's in the way. There you go. Minus 225 for the Nuggets on the money line. Pelicans are plus 180. What are they on FanDuel? Plus 188, minus 225. So if you're betting, if you want the Pelicans to win and you think they're going to win, and you're going to bet the Pelicans, it's better to bet them on FanDuel because you get $8 extra if you bet $100. All right, and the other lines are pretty similar. So not going to spend too much time on that, but again, just make sure you shop around for lines, and you can find some variances, some differences that could actually help you to get a better line. There's also things where you can middle on bets, where you bet on two different books, and you could have one line and another line, and you could actually win both of them. Or you can bet on other things where you may take one line on one book and another line on the other book. It's called arbitrage betting. I'll get into it again another day tomorrow. But you could basically place the same bet, just the opposite on the other book, and where the lines are, you'll actually guaranteed to win either way. Those bets do take usually a larger amount of a wager in order to actually profit anything, but we'll get into it tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Next tip is to keep records and track your bets. All right, it's hard to know how you're doing if you don't keep track, and it's also hard to know what you're good at if you don't keep track. All right, I showed you guys my tracker the other day. Again, I will make that available to everybody so they can use it for their own bets. And again, my tracker with my bets that I post in Discord on CGTV's Discord will be linked inside of the Discord. So you can go at any given point and check the tracker to see how I'm doing through the month, how I'm doing through the year, all that kind of stuff. All right. It also helps you know how much you spend versus how much you actually win. Some people don't realize, but just because your account's going up doesn't mean that that's necessarily a good thing. Obviously, we like to profit, but if you're betting a lot of money to win a little bit of money, that's not necessarily a good thing, because if you lose a couple of those bets, your account balance will go down very, very quickly. So how much you spend versus how much you win is a little bit important, especially if you want to be profitable long term. Also, you can know your return on investment, which is good, because then you can also help you figure out what you're good at, how much you've actually returned off of what you've put in, and tracking, just it's a good thing to do. Learn the lingo. All right. So basic terminology of sports betting terms. I will do a video on this one as well. I'll do a whole show on it. Basically, the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary of Degen. So Degen's Dictionary of Degenerate Terms. That's what we're going to call it. All right. And I should probably write that down so I don't forget. But yeah, I'll do a whole show on what the lingo is. You don't need to know every single word. As long as you know some of them and you understand the concepts behind them, you'll be set. All right. Create a spreadsheet that downloads the lines from multiple sites. Someone must have one, AI or ChatGPT. Yeah. You can do that. You can get lines from all different sites. There's actually websites you can use that you just go into the website and it'll compare all the live lines from 5 or 6 different books. I'm not necessarily saying to go open an account with all 7 sports books that you may have access to and then open all 7 and sit there and go back and forth. There are sites, I can put them in Discord and I can go over how to read those sites on another episode. But there are sites, I do use them to see which books have better lines and also understand where those edges may be. It might be on one book, it may be on another book. That's why I have access to multiple accounts and multiple different sports books. Another thing that's huge, especially for beginners, all right, ignore your own personal biases, okay? Don't always bet your favorite teams. Sometimes. There's a caveat to that, all right? But don't always bet on your favorite teams because unless your team is really good, but even then the lines are usually juiced and it's usually tough to win long term. But personally speaking, I don't like to bet on my favorite teams, i.e. Philly teams, for the reason that if they lose, well, yeah, I lost my bet, but then also the team lost. So it's like a double loss. Also, that has your emotion involved in it. You may not be seeing things clearly with that kind of stuff. Same thing with betting against your least favorite team. Again, emotions involved. Try to remove emotion from whatever you're betting on. That's why I rarely bet on Philly teams. With sports, I do occasionally, but again, I need to have an edge, not just because I think they're going to win and they're my favorite team. All right. And also, don't bet on a bad team thinking that they're due to win eventually. Yeah, they'll win eventually, but you don't know when that win's going to come. So don't bet on teams that are just bad because you think they're due. All right. It's not necessarily the case. Lines are set up in certain ways where Vegas already factors in things like that. They won't say that, oh, this team is due, so we're going to move the line a little bit. But with like bad losing streaks and things like that, teams aren't necessarily due, so don't bet on teams because you think they're due. And I gave you the example already, but don't bet on heavy money line favorites thinking that they're a lock. All right? They're not. It's professional sports. Anybody can win. Anybody can lose on a given day. I don't care how bad the team is. All right? If you look at last night, for example, the Rockets played the Thunder last night. Or the Thunder played last night. I can tell you exactly who they played. Let me pull it up, and I will tell you. The Rockets. Oh, sorry. The Pistons and the Thunder last night, right? The Thunder were 9.5 point favorites last night. They were like minus 500 on the money line. The Thunder won by a point. Okay? Could they have lost that game? Very easily. They were trailing late. They managed to pull out the game, but don't bet on those heavy money line, those minus 500, thinking they're a lock. Risking 500 to win 100 is not a good idea long term. Don't do it. What else we got? Don't get overconfident and don't get disheartened, right? So if you win a couple bets in a row, don't think you're, the greatest gift of sports betting. You're not. All right. Also, don't get disheartened when you lose a couple in a row. They happen. That's why we break things down in units, and we have bankroll management to sustain those downs and profit on those ups. All right. Streaks happen. I said it already. Ups and downs are going to come. Bad beats, all right? These things hurt in the beginning. I'm jaded. I expect them almost at this point, all right? If you bet on enough soccer, you'll know, okay? You might bet an under, and in like the 95th minute in stoppage time, somebody scores a goal. It happens, all right? There's been times where I bet on soccer games with an over, and there's 2 goals in the first few minutes and nothing else the rest of the game, all right? Bad beats, they happen. You might get a team, again, if you bet the Thunder last night and you were sitting there sweating that one out because the Pistons almost won. The Thunder were up like 13 at one point. Pistons almost won. It happens, right? It does happen. Think about Texas from March Madness the other day. All right? Texas was up 14 points with 8 minutes left. They lost by 8 or I think 6, maybe 6. Lost by 6 or 8 points. Bad beats, they come. Don't worry. Those are going to sting at first. I am jaded to those at this point. I've seen so many bad beats that they don't even faze me anymore. You have to learn to ignore those bets, override them, and just keep moving on. Because with those bad beats will also come wins in the exact same way. All right? You may make a bet like that where you got absolutely badly beaten the night before, and the way you got badly beaten may be the way you cash a bet the next day. All right, so don't take those and really harp on them. Learn from them, and then if you made a mistake or something like that, learn from it, move on, and you can use it to your knowledge for future. Betting on soccer. Yuck. Well, if you're profitable, it's not yucky. Anyway, research. Research is important, all right? If you're going to be a good sports bettor, you have to do research. Doesn't necessarily mean you got to be like me and spend hours updating models and reading things and doing other stuff. You don't have to do that. But if you do invest just a little bit of time, maybe read a few articles, watch a few shows, and more importantly, watch me. I'll do the research for you. Now, again, my picks are going to be based on my research and what I like. I will have research on certain games where if you ask me, what's your thoughts on this versus this, I can go into the model and pull something, or I can go pull, like, in my data pool that I use, I can go pull some info. But, I might not be betting on that game for a specific reason. I can give you a lean, not a bet. But, you can do that. But invest some time. Again, it's the same thing as understanding what sport you're betting on. Understand why you're betting on the team. That's where the research portion comes into play. All right. Learn to trust your judgment. All right. There's a lot of so-called experts out there. If you watch any sort of sports talk show, or if you watch like NBA Live before NBA goes on, you'll hear Shaq and you'll hear Jalen Green. You hear a bunch of other people giving out their opinions on games. Their opinions. Okay. They may have valid opinions, but don't let don't let those opinions sway you and make a bet one way or the other. Those guys aren't experts, all right? Nobody is really an expert in anything. The only thing you're an expert of is your own opinion, okay? So be careful with that kind of stuff. Don't get swayed by certain things very easily. Make sure that you trust your gut and you trust the research that you've done. Will baseball bets be a big part of your betting for your next few months, or will you stick mostly to soccer? I will throw some baseball bets in here and there. I am not the greatest baseball capper, so I may not be doing a ton of baseball. I will have baseball props Same thing with NBA. NBA props. I like props in baseball much better than I do betting on actual teams. But yes, I will have baseball bets here and there. Again, not my biggest and my best sport, so they will be lighter plays, like those 1 unit plays will be baseball plays. But there will be a lot of soccer, but there will be some baseball. Okay. And then when NFL comes around, lots of NFL. And there will be tennis and other sports. And I'm also looking to, bring maybe a few other people in who are maybe better at betting baseball or better at betting hockey or better at betting NBA. And then we can, bounce back, get ideas, and maybe they can post some bets and stuff, and we'll see how we do. But yeah, baseball, there will be some incorporated. Again, not a ton. There's going to be light plays. Again, don't put your whole bankroll on a baseball play for me because I don't know if it's going to hit. I don't know if any play is going to hit, to be honest with you. Again, it's gambling. Can be confident in some plays, though. Another thing, avoid betting when you're under the influence, all right? I know it's hard. I've done it before. I win sometimes, I lose sometimes, but we all like to have fun, all right? I get it. Believe me, degens in the party club. Degens always having fun, okay? Life is a degen as life is fun. Pretty much my motto. Anyway, but be mindful when you're betting impaired, all right? It's not a good idea to be betting when you're under the influence of drugs, alcohol, anything. Don't advise doing any of those things anyway, but be careful when you are impaired with your bets, all right? Because one, you can make bets that you wouldn't make when you're sober. Two, you may risk more money because you're under the influence. Three, you may have zero research and you're just drunk and you want to place a bet. Be very mindful, okay? Place your bets before you go out to have your fun, all right? You'll see me doing that. Might be going out for the night, some bar, some club, whatever I'm going to. Yeah, I might be checking my phone while I'm at the table or wherever I'm at, but the bets are placed beforehand and I don't place anymore while I'm there. And same vein, don't chase losses when you're impaired, all right? You lose a bet, don't go down a rabbit hole and just start hammering other bets thinking you're going to make your money back. Your decision-making is impaired and you're probably not thinking the best. So don't make that, all right? And also, when you're with like friends and family and stuff, don't let those bets affect your fun and those that you're with. All right. Some people, when they start sports betting, they'll lose a couple and like they really make it an unpleasant experience for the people that they're with. I'm not saying that you're with other bettors. I'm just saying like if you're with your significant other or you're with like some family or something, don't let losing bets affect what you're doing. All right. Compartmentalize. Again, that's why we have bankroll management. That's why we're using units, because losing 1 or 2 or even 6 bets, it is what it is. All right. Don't sit there and let that seriously affect what you're doing. Don't let that affect those around you. It's going to make people not want to be with you. It's going to make you into a bad person. Don't do it. And I think finally, experiment. All right. And I say this cautiously. All right. Don't experiment with large wagers. It's in big text down at the bottom. But there's no right or wrong way to bet, all right? There's many, many ways to bet, and there's no right or wrong way. There's certain things that I would stay away from, personally speaking, but again, it's your money, and you can do what you want with your money. I'm not going to tell you how to bet your money, but find what works for you, find what doesn't work for you. But again, keep the wagers small, all right? So that'll bring me to the end of the tips. If you guys have any questions, put them in chat. I'm going to go through chat right now, and you can let me know if you guys do have questions or anything along those lines, and I'm going to take a peek here and see. Yes, this is a great one. Unfortunately, the emojis are not going to display here, but when the 4 talking heads on TV pick the same side and it loses. If you guys watch a lot of sports commentary shows or some of those, like, again, NBA Live where they all pick a team, or NFL when NFL's there and the whole panel picks one team, there's times where I'm sitting there and I'm going to bet the opposite of that, because I'm sitting there like, why? Why? And they're usually not all right. So, good point. Buckeye, I advise against making any financial decision while impaired that will cost you more than $20. That's a good motto to have, and a good thing. I mean, again, I try not to bet when I'm impaired in generally. So, I'm not even going to cost myself $20. But if you are impaired, just be very mindful. Nola over strikeouts is 6.5. Getting into my baseball props already. Again, not giving out picks until April 1st, which is Saturday. So this one will not be tracked. I do like Nola over strikeouts today, though. I do like the over. I'm not officially giving that out as a pick, but I do like the over there. He's been looking good in spring season or spring training, and yeah, he was inconsistent last year, but I do like him to have over strikeouts today. I do like that. If you want to pick that I'm more confident in, again, this is not specific advice. I'm going to go back to, well, you're going to have to see me flip through a million slides, but here it is. Where is it? There you go. I'm going to leave that up there for right now. Nola over, sure. I like Scherzer over 5.5. I have that one placed myself. Again, not giving these out as specific picks that will be tracked, but I do like Scherzer over. And I said it on another show. Somebody was asking me for a MLB parlay. I'm not a big favorites better in MLB, but I like the Braves and the Angels today, if you care. Okay? Again, not specifically giving betting advice here. I'm just saying who I like. Again, picks, April 1st, Saturday. They'll be out. Any other questions or anything, please feel free to put them in chat. What's going on, Badger? How are you? Jim, dropping in during lunch. Good time to drop in. Just wrapping up here. Just seeing if anyone has any questions. If not, I'll go ahead and call the show. And go hop over and watch some baseball. Again, not the biggest baseball fan, but I'm going to be watching some opening day. My Phillies are on a little bit later, so I'll be watching them. And looking for a good opening day here. Again, be careful. Especially, I'm going to say this too as another little tip. All right, be very, very careful betting in the beginning of a season. All right, especially like opening day baseball. Even like the first game of NFL, same thing like that, right? Be careful betting on those things because the lines from Vegas aren't quite as sharp yet, so there can be edges, but also, mind you, it's like the first game of their season, all right? Yes, I know they've been playing spring training, but half the time in spring training, you got guys who don't even, you don't even know who they are, right? They're not even on the roster, all right? So be careful with those kind of bets. Bet light on those. I just saw SJ's name pop up. Bet light on in the beginning. All right, figure out what's going on. Vegas is going to figure out better lines and things like that. So do be mindful with that. Anytime Buckeye, again, going to be trying to do this almost every single day if I can. Again, work schedule permitting and things like that. But appreciate you dropping in. JR, John, appreciate you as well. SJ. And CRC, appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to call the show here, all right? Don't see any questions or anything coming in. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. If you're watching baseball, I hope you enjoy it. And if your team is playing, good luck. I hope your team wins. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Again, we're going to be going over a bunch of betting systems tomorrow and betting strategies for sports betting, all right? Some of them will apply to other bets that you've seen and maybe other strategies and other casino games, but they're more specific for sports betting, things like that. So we're gonna go over that tomorrow. So hopefully you guys enjoy that, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Just remember, guys, everybody has a little degen in them. Don't have too much of a degen in you, and I will see you guys tomorrow.